What's going on, everyone? Zach H, FBA here, bringing you a video about how I went from $0 in sales to over $10,000 in profit using Amazon FBA and the method that I used to get there. I did not reinvent the wheel and make a new product. I didn't buy products in bulk from China and ship them to the United States. I didn't come up with any $10,000 to make crazy wholesale orders. I just simply rebought products that are within the United States and brands that are here in retail stores and resold them on Amazon's FBA platform, which led me to quit my 9-to-5, pay off my student loans, and live a life that I've always wanted to live as a business owner. Okay, welcome everyone. We're doing the how to start Amazon FBA with online arbitrage in 2025. And the reason I say start online arbitrage, I'm going to be preaching this as long as I'm preaching how to sell on Amazon. I think everyone in their right mind should start with online arbitrage prior to them, going for the wholesale, the private label, anything like that. One, if you're going to do brand direct wholesale, you need to know what the hell you're talking about when you start talking to these brands about how to start selling on Amazon. If they're a new brand, they're doing like 100K a year and they want to increase their volume on Amazon. It really helps that if you know a little bit about what you're talking about when it comes to selling on Amazon. And an easy way to do that, limited barrier to entry, is with online arbitrage. So I'll be preaching, if you're starting Amazon in 2025, 2026, or 2027, you're going to want to start with online arbitrage just so you can learn kind of the verbiage and everything of what's going on here. So what is online arbitrage? You buy products from an online retailer at a discount and resell them on Amazon for a profit. And things that you don't need, you do not need a warehouse. I have a warehouse, and that's just because we have grown over the past 3.5 years and we wanted a warehouse. So that's why we have one. There's definitely no big upfront investment. I'd say like a comfortable starting point would be like $2,000 to $5,000. If you had that amount of money to start Amazon online arbitrage, you'd be fine. And you definitely don't need to ship products to yourself. You can utilize people who have warehouses and prep centers, is what they're called for the most part. And you can ship them your products and then they can prep them and send them into Amazon for you. So you don't have to. However, at the beginning, I highly recommend, if you're like a blank slate, have no idea what's going on, I recommend that you learn the process so that when you do send products to a prep center, you understand what you're paying for and the work that goes into it. It's like you pay a car detailer to clean your car, but like you're only paying them to do that because you know cleaning your car is a pain in the ass and you want someone to do it for you. So yeah, that's my little spiel on that, but we're over that now. So yeah, let Amazon do the heavy lifting here. So we want them to do everything. You can do a version of Amazon that's called FBM, fulfilled by merchant. That is when you, the seller, ships all the products yourself. And from there, you can go print labels and package products and ship products directly to the customer. However, it is, if you're trying to do this as kind of like a hands-off type business where you do the work behind the computer and then go sit on the beach while Amazon does all the work, Amazon FBA fulfillment by Amazon is for you. All right, getting into the steps here. So yeah, step one, set up your Amazon seller account. Go to sellercentral.amazon.com and you're going to choose the professional plan. They're going to give you two options, an individual plan and a professional plan. You pick the professional for $39.99 a month because that is what's going to make you the bread and butter. An individual plan, they'll charge you like $1 a unit and you won't even really notice until you start getting sales. You'll be like, oh my God, I'm getting charged way too much money. So yeah, when setting up an account, I highly recommend that you get at least a sole proprietorship LLC or a S Corp or something like that. But anyways, just go onto your Secretary of State website for whatever state that you're in and create a business and get an employee identification number, employee tax identification number, whatever you want to call it. And that will allow you to apply for business credit. And that's kind of leading into a little bit more into the weeds of getting started here. But I highly recommend, if you're going to do this and you want to do it right, start an LLC, get an EIN, and start, applying for business credit cards and stuff like that. But anyways, this is all you need if you're going to start, no matter what. A government ID, so your driver's license works fine. Checking account, savings account information, debit or credit card, utility bills for the address that you live at. And that's one of the biggest things that Amazon's going to want to do. I've been DMing some kid about, he's getting started. I say kid because he just graduated high school this year, but he's getting started and going on his journey. And he's like, yeah, the whole approval process for Amazon said it would take like 3 or 4 days, but it's actually, I'm ready to go in like 10 hours. So it seems like 3 years ago when I started, it took like a week for me to get like authorized. So I don't know if they're speeding up the process or whatnot, but yeah. So it took him like 10 hours to get ready to go, but he doesn't have an LLC. He's just doing a sole proprietorship. which is totally fine. And you just need to give your social security number in order to do that, so that Amazon knows that you are who you say you are, and you live where you say you are, and you're not someone from like another country trying to act as you, pretty much steal your data and do that. All right. So step number 2, after you get your account all set up, you're going to want to go start with Amazon FBA. You can start with FBM, like I said, but I highly recommend, if you're trying to do the hands-off, live on the beach, hang out, and let Amazon do all the shipping and packing for you, I recommend using FBA. If you're interested in FBM, though, I can do a whole other segment on FBM and the trials and tribulations and successes that can come from that. So with Amazon FBA, you're going to ship your inventory right to Amazon's warehouses, but it has to go through either you or a prep center first. And I can get into that. I'll get into that right now, actually. So before you send your inventory into Amazon's warehouses, it needs to be prepped to their standard and labeled with either FNSKU labels or commingled inventory using the UPCs that are on products already. And most of the time, products that you order, whether it be from retailers or even distributors alone, they won't have the proper UPCs on there. And it might be like the UPC changed by one number over the course of the year or whatever. So you have to put an FNSKU. It's the same exact product, but you have to put an FNSKU on because the listing ASIN for Amazon doesn't have the matching UPC. So you have to put your own FNSKU number. It's called a fulfillment network SKU. I forget the old terminology there, but anyways, it's just a label that starts in X, has a 0 after it, and then a bunch of random letters. And you put the barcode over the UPC of the product, and then whatever other prep is required, then you send it into Amazon. Other prep required is like polybagging. If it's like a pair of socks or a hat or a sweatshirt, it needs to be put in a polybag that is either vacuum sealed or labeled with suffocation warning, so that people know that, whatever, you can suffocate. Something like that. It's a big deal when you're first starting out, is you got to order polybags that have suffocation warnings on them. And God bless the people that make those, because they make a ton of money from us Amazon sellers. But yeah, so after you prep and ship the items that you buy and send to your house or your prep center, you send it into Amazon. And then when you get orders, Amazon then picks and packs and ships the inventory based on your FNSKU number and all that stuff for you. So that FNSKU number is really like a unique number for that piece of inventory and for your storefront. So no other seller selling the same Under Armour hat will have that same FNSKU as you. So that's like kind of good for you to like have a little bit of peace of mind. Like, okay, instead of using commingled UPCs, I'm using an FNSKU that is only for my store. So no matter what at Amazon, if anyone ever gets confused, they scan it and they're like, all right, that's Zach H. FBA's inventory. It's good to go. With FBA also, it's like, you don't have to, spend up, like stay up till like 1 a.m. We did FBM, a couple products at the beginning, and we would be up late prepping the inventory to ship out the next day. So with this, you kind of just focus on sourcing and replenishing your inventory, so you don't have to worry about putting shipping labels on boxes and sending that stuff out the next day, because it's going to be late. Step 3, finding profitable products to buy. There's a deep scan software called Tactical Arbitrage, and that is pretty much, you put parameters into this scraping software and then add it to like a website. You do Kohl's.com. You want to scan for products that are named like Adidas, Under Armour, Jones Road makeup, or any other brand or product, and it'll scrape the website and compare the website listings with Amazon listings. So it kind of, and you can fine tune this like to so many degrees. You can do like sales rank on Amazon, all this other stuff that we really haven't gotten into yet. But overall, it's like a software that takes all the listings from websites, scrapes it, and compares the website to Amazon, and sees, it kind of tells you if there's any opportunity for high selling products with good ROI and profit and stuff like that. So you can kind of take that from there. Tactical Arbitrage, it's definitely a good software, but I used it a ton at the beginning, but I highly recommend just using Keepa and SellerAmp right here. So Keepa is the price history of a product, and it tells you everything that you would ever need to know about a listing on Amazon. And SellerAmp is kind of like your like calculator in a way. So Keepa, data, SellerAmp, calculator. Think of it like that. And I can actually add in right here. I added in here like a Keepa chart right here, so we can take a look at it. So the pink line that you see within this Keepa chart that's going to be your buy box line. So that's every time you go on a product or anything on Amazon, like for example, let's just go here, Amazon Nike socks. We started selling Nike socks like crazy. So go to Nike socks on Amazon, and every time you see this price pop up here, that is the buy box price. So that buy box price and this pink line on a Keep It chart is going to be associated with whatever that price is at the time. And it can change kind of rapidly. You can get a high, like you can see here for like a day, the buy box price like spiked up like over $10. This is $100 item that the buy box just bumped up in price. So whoever was selling the product that day made a bunch more money. And every blue dot that you see on this chart is an FBM seller. So that's someone who is, like I mentioned before, FBM, they're shipping it from their house to the customer. So all the blue dots are FBM customers, and every single orange triangle that you see in here, that is going to be an FBA seller. So you kind of see some orange triangles at the end over here. They're popping up a little bit higher than FBM sellers. It's not for certain, but Amazon definitely does tend to kind of throw and assist and help out FBA sellers a little bit more than they help out FBM. Also here, we got the sales rank line. So this green line here, the lower it goes, the faster the product sells. So you can see here, it's kind of spiking up and around like 200 to 250,000. And then as an FBA seller comes in stock, it kind of drops down to a little bit below 100,000. And you, generally speaking, being an initial seller or a beginner on Amazon, even if you're a veteran seller, you want to be selling products that are under 100,000 in sales rank, unless the ROI or profit is like insane on that product. And these lines over here, so this is a sales rank chart, and then it does have like some monthly sold lines here. This middle window, I don't even tend to really use it too much. I pretty much just focus right here on the top window, and then on the bottom one that has the blue line here is the number of sellers on the listing. So as you can see, it ranges kind of between like 3 to, it looks like it's at like a high right now of 10. And then the rating count, which is the amount of reviews that the listing has on Amazon. So it's this greenish yellow line. I'm not really sure, but so you want to generally see like 3 to 5 reviews per month. That's how you know that the product's selling, because it's getting reviews and getting traction, and people are, commenting on how the product is or whatever. And then so I'll do a much more in-depth like Keep It tutorial. There's so many layers to this software on like how it can help you sell your products on Amazon and find awesome products to sell. This is a seller amp chart right here. So your eligibility is going to be dependent upon if you're logged into your Amazon account. I'm technically not logged into my Amazon account right now on this Google account, so it's not going to tell you if I'm eligible or not, but it will tell you if you're ungated, and that's a whole different topic that we can get into, but I'm really just trying to keep this in like under 20 minutes and just go over all the onesie twosies of Amazon. And this will tell you if there's like if it's private label potential, or it's going to give you like IP complaints. But seeing the green 6 here is generally very good. And BSR is your sales rank. That's the number that I talked about. The lower it goes, the more sales that the product has. So as you can see here, 91,000 sales rank, puts you in the top 1% of this product's category specifically. And estimated sales per month being 100 plus, that's generally very good. I really don't like to mess with products that aren't like 50 to 100 plus sales per month. And then you have like criteria that you put in on the back end of Seller Amp. You're going to tell them what's your profit number that you want to hit. So I have $3 profit minimum in there. So this number will stay green as long as it's above $3, and an ROI percentage of 25%. So as long as this is above 25% ROI, this will be a green box for myself. So let's just say this product alone was like $60 even. So you plug in 60, we're going to make $16.99, because 76 divided by 60 is 16. And that would be above a 25% ROI. Just a little rundown based on that. And I tend to, I lean towards 30%. I will accept 50% if the product sells a bunch. So this steady sales of like 3 to 10 times per month, I'm really going to make sure that this product is, if it's a 30% ROI, it needs to be 40 or 50% ROI if I'm going to accept a 3 to 10 sales per month chart. But yeah, you definitely want to look for like a low number of sellers. So back to the Keepa chart, this blue line here, you really don't want it to be that high unless the product absolutely rips. Then you can obviously, if it's selling 10,000 times a month and there's 50 sellers on it, I think you'll be fine if you buy 50 of them. It's really not that big of a deal, but it's all trial and error and things that you'll learn along the way. All right, so where to source from? So I like to source Walmart, Kohl's, Walgreens, Nike, if you're gated in Nike, but for now, I'm really kind of into the Under Armour stuff. Under Armour, New Balance, any clearance outlets or anything like that, like outlet websites, I would recommend at least taking a gander at and taking them to look and seeing if they're any good. All right, step 4, analyzing the deal. So you can see an example here. Buy cost 15, sell price on Amazon is 35. Amazon fees are roughly 25 to 30% of the overall sale price. So they're going to take $10 off the top. Your profit is $10, you make 66. And the Amazon fees are higher if you do FBA versus FBM. But caveat, if you do FBM, then you are responsible for the shipping. And you can either absorb that cost yourself or pass it off to the customer. And if you pass it off to the customer, you're less likely to win the buy box over time. Just a little key drop of info right there. So yeah, always check if you're ungated before you buy a product. That is so crucial, especially being a beginner. You're dropping $50 to $150 on like 5 to 10 units of inventory, or much more than that, like 500 to 1,000. The last thing that you want to do is spend that money and buy the inventory, have it show up to the house, and then boom, shit, I'm not ungated. Unless that's your plan from the beginning. And if that's your plan from the beginning, then you want to buy at least 10 of those and make sure whoever you're buying it from is going to give you a solid receipt or a clean invoice. And I say solid receipt, but I would definitely prefer an invoice selling on Amazon. You want an invoice from a supplier to submit for ungating. Crazy. All right, step 5, buy, prep, ship, inventory. Once you find a solid product, and I would love to help you find those solid products, follow along for more information now, please subscribe. However, if you made it this far, honestly, that's freaking awesome. But yeah, so step 5, once you find solid products, like I said, subscribe if you want my help. You're going to buy the inventory online, either ship it to your own home or a prep center. And if you do use a prep center, make sure that it is in a tax-free state. So a state that if you ship inventory to that state, you will not get charged sales tax, because that's the trade-off. You're going to pay that prep center a fee of like $1 to $3 to prep your inventory, depending on what you're buying. And you're not going to have to pay sales tax on the state that you live in, unless you live in like New Hampshire, Delaware, Montana. That's what's nice about being in the state that requires sales tax, and you use a prep center in a state that doesn't require sales tax. But yeah, so you're going to prep the item at home. You're going to remove all your price tags from the retailer that you bought it from, because the last thing you want is to be selling a t-shirt on Amazon for $55 and you got a price tag on there for $22. Customer buys it off you from Amazon. They get it at home and they're like, oh man, this thing fits. Oh, $22? Zach H. FBA is scamming me. He paid $22 and I paid $55. Like, he is scamming me. So definitely want to watch out for that. But yeah, so back to that poly bag, bubble wrap if needed. Bubble wrap is for like fragile items. You're going to want to kind of make sure, like I'm using a nice little ring light right now. That was wrapped in bubble wrap when it was sent to me, just to protect it because it's a little fragile. And add the Amazon barcodes, F and SKU labels. And I could probably do a whole 25-minute video just on creating a shipment in Seller Central. But yeah, so that's something that you're going to have to do, is go into your inventory and go to the send to Amazon, enter all your box contents and quantities and sizes and weights. And that's also a good video of like what you would need to start from home selling on Amazon. And then you're going to want to ship Amazon's partnered carrier. I do think they just added FedEx to the partnered carrier list. However, from my 3 years of experience of shipping a lot of packages, I prefer UPS. This is not a paid advertisement. Yeah, so after you ship everything out, products arrive at Amazon and they're ready to sell. And once you're live, you're just going to track all your inventory. Ideally, you do not want to buy or pay for a repricer, which is another software that you're going to potentially need down the line, until you have at least like 20 to 30 active listings at a time. You don't want to mess with having a repricer if you only have 5 to 10 items that you need to go through, because it takes 5 minutes to go through and reprice 5 items. It's really not that big of a deal. But yeah, so that's this note right here. It's like you definitely want to reorder your winning products though. This is good, and this is when like data tracking and keeping everything in an organized like Excel sheet of like where you ordered, what you ordered, when it was that you ordered, if you used coupons and stacked Rakuten, Top Cashback, and all this other stuff. You want to put all those notes in there because then say it's a seasonal item or something like that, or it tends to roll on a sale every 3 to 4 months, that you can kind of keep track of all this stuff and say, you add a new column, sale April 2025. And then in September, October, it goes back on sale. You can add it again so you can keep track of that item for the next year or something like that. All right, bonus tips. Use Rakuten, Top Cashback. These add-ons to your profit. I have cashed out in a Top Cashback transaction over $5,000 for an 8-week span. That was me buying items for 8 weeks using a Top Cashback extension, and it was just $5,000 extra dollars that got delivered right to my PayPal and deposited into my bank account. These like added benefits of using these cashback extensions are insane. And that goes into another point of like cashback credit cards, stuff like that. Buy all your inventory with a credit card. One, it protects you if you're buying from a supplier that might not ship an entire order or whatever. They, miss a few items, that you can dispute that with a credit card company and, most likely win, especially if you're being completely honest with them. I would say track all profits using Inventory Lab or Google Sheets. And I'm going to add Seller Board to this too. Seller Board is a great profit tracker. If you follow me on TikTok, sometimes I'll post like a profit shot of like Seller Board up in the corner and me just making a video of talking about the sales or profit from that said screenshot. Yeah, definitely start small, 500 to 1,000. This is 100% a long game. You want to be doing this like myself 3 years in the future. Like I was watching videos of flips for miles 3 years ago. Excuse me. But yeah, I was watching videos of flips for miles 3 years ago, just thinking like, oh my God, I need to make $10,000 a month now. And looking back like 3 years, like I wish that I could slip a note or a sticky note to myself 3 years ago, just be like, dude, you're going to make 50 grand a month. And boom, I would be so excited. But yeah, join 100%, join free Facebook groups and Discords for daily leads, not so much for networking. You want to make a network of people that are doing the same thing, like-minded individuals who are you can source together, you can bounce ideas, share leads. Most of the time, if you find a product on Amazon, one, you're not going to be able to buy enough of it because it sells way too much and you don't have enough money. And two, even if you could buy it all, it's like, it's nice to bounce ideas with other people, and maybe, who knows, sometimes it could save your ass too, for sure. But yeah, Q4, definitely a gold mine. That's the best time to sell, best time to start. And we're in July 2025, so a few months away, but no better time to get ready for Q4 and start selling on Amazon. All right, subscribe for more information here. And if you would like help, there's a Jot form at the bottom of this video. Please fill it out and we can have a genuine conversation. I am definitely not trying to do anything crazy, but I would like to help people out and potentially change some people's lives. Just how my life was changed 3 years ago, I would not even imagine myself sitting here taking a YouTube video talking about how I went from 0 to 7 million or 0 to 10K profit per month selling on Amazon, because I never even thought it was possible. But it is, because I'm here and I'm living proof. So if you want some help, definitely fill out the Jot form. We can jump on a call and have a chat.